Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub so you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. And today we're going to be diving into Empyre, issue number 2, the Avengers Fantastic Four crossover. If you guys haven't checked out the other Empyre stuff, I'll make sure to leave a link so you guys can check out issues number 1 and issues number 0 and all the build up to this Kree-Skrull war. And so we last left off with our heroes on the blue part of the moon, and they're there with the Kodatai, and they really thought that they were there to defend, and they thought that hulking along with the Kree and Skrull alliance were coming to exterminate them for just being in existence. So with Sequoia having our Avengers tied up, our celestial messiah has these Avengers tied up, and essentially he's talking to the Avengers about how, you know, he may have been one of them at one point in time. He was the first Avengers baby. He was raised by the Avengers, but mostly he was raised by the swordsman, his father. And through everything he learned, everything he was taught by the Avengers, by the swordsman, is to have vengeance, to have your revenge, to have your people avenged. And that's what he really feels like he's doing here. He really feels like he's avenging his people for the massacre that was brought upon by the Kree and the Skrull. And this is where we see Tony Stark really start to piece everything together. He's finally piecing together how Carol was right after the New Year's, the Avengers had chased down a Skrull, which was Ragsor, which was covered in incoming comic. So they had some kind of understanding of what was happening. The Avengers were just really left out of the loop here, because behind the scenes, the Kodatai were really creating a flower, a death blossom, and with enough powerful amplified magic, they would be able to take on entire fleets, entire worlds, and the Kree and the Skrull had been countering this at every step, and they were able to make their alliance faster than these death blossoms were able to be created. And so with the Armada on the way to the blue side of the moon, Sequoia decided to recruit the Avengers, give them a telepathically implanted dream of injustice done. And so the Avengers were just played the whole time. But while this whole conversation is going on, Thor had his hand open. And that's when his hammer comes crashing down and the Avengers are released. And they were given an opportunity to pretty much live in this jungle, this forest, for the rest of their days, or they would die. And so the Avengers go to attack, but Sequoia disappears in an instant. And they seem to be using some kind of plant-based gateways for instant travel, which is also something the X-Men have used, so it's not surprising that we see plant-based species being able to have some kind of technology of that sense. But even with Sequoia gone, that wasn't really the objective here. The objective was to stop the Armada, and that's what they did. And with the Armada stopped, the Kodatai arrive on Earth, and they start wrecking havoc. And this is where Thor, Iron Man, and Cap all decide they need to get on the front lines. They need to combat this however they can, because a war has literally just broken out on Earth. And we pick up with Carol Danvers up in the space station. And inside the main commander spaceship, we have the Fantastic Four and everybody trying to fight off all these plant-based attacks, because this is anything that's essentially organic material is attacking. So plants, food, all of this stuff is just coming to life and attacking everybody on board. And then we see Emperor Hulking come in with the Sword of Space. And it's essentially the sword for the king, the master. And that's where Reed Richards gets an idea that if they could absorb enough of that sword's energy, because it does make the plant retreat. So if that energy could be absorbed and redistributed, they could be able to essentially rid the whole ship of plant life. And this is where Carol Danvers comes into play. And Hulking takes the sword and jabs it directly into Carol Danvers. And as the sword's inside of her, she absorbs all of this energy and just explodes. And even dies for a moment, but comes back to life. And this is where we get to see really something awesome. The hammer that belonged to Ronan, who was one of the accusers of the Imperium's little army, we see it given to Carol Danvers here. And she's given a place inside of the Kree Accuser Corps, which is a huge freaking honor. But she's well deserved it. She literally just saved thousands of lives in an instant, not knowing the consequences of putting that sword, that energy into her body. and she willfully accepts this hammer because she's definitely gonna need all the power she can get. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am absolutely loving what is going on here. We have a full-scale war breaking out on Earth right now between essentially 3 different nations, 3 different species of sentient beings. And the Avengers are just gonna have to try to do cleanup. They're just gonna have to try to protect the people they can while holding back the Kodatai from being able to take over everything. So yeah, if you guys haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe to the page, and until the next video.